everybody and welcome. This is a non-spoiler review of Yellowface by Kuang. This is a psychological satire about publishing industry. The story follows two writers, one successful named Athena and one is not so successful named June. They gather together at Athena's apartment to celebrate yet another success of Athena. So they get drunk and they start this pancake eating contest, and Athena actually dies by choking. So June, after calling the ambulance and giving the statement to the authorities, walks out of the Athena's apartment with Athena's manuscript. June knows that Athena hasn't told anyone about this manuscript, so June thinks she can get away with publishing the book under her name. The only problem is that Athena is Chinese American and the book is about Chinese laborers during World War I, and June is a white woman and has absolutely no relation to the story. So the question that Kuang addresses is who can publish what and where is the line? I watched a couple interviews with Kuang, and she said that the idea of this book came in early 2021 during COVID lockdown. I noticed that many reviewers said that the book reads as spiteful and angry, and from what I gathered, Rebecca was angry and spiteful, and she did want to address the issue about kind of like race and who gets to publish what, and I think she did a pretty good job with it. I also wanted to mention another aspect, is that when Rebecca was publishing this satire about publishing industry, she actually made some people very upset, I'm pretty sure. I'm sure that she had some warnings and just kind of like maybe people thought that it's a bad idea to publish, because it seems very much like it was her own experience, or maybe close to it, or maybe it's just the way she's thinking about publishing industry, but either way she's not painting a pretty picture of it. I think it takes guts to publish this book. I think it takes guts to go for it and actually see it through. Now I want to talk about the characters of this book and kind of like how Kuang addresses the issue about publishing industry. So first of all, Athena. Athena is Chinese American, and she is kind of like, you go into description of how she looks like, and that's what I imagine her to be. And this is what Kuang looks like. So it's pretty awkward to read about one of the main characters who is described just as the author is. And I noticed that many reviewers also addressed that, and they were kind of freaked out about that. But I think it was done on purpose. I think maybe Rebecca wanted it to look this way. I think she wanted to make it awkward. Maybe, I don't know. I liked it more than I disliked it. It was just really weird when I started reading about this and how perfect Athena was, and then their descriptions match so much. But when you go into the book, you find out that Athena was far from perfect. She had so many issues. She was just not as good as she first seemed to be. So I was okay with Kuang kind of like describing Athena, maybe based on her own appearances, maybe not, but it didn't seem as awkward as I wanted to the book. So now, addressing the question about race and who gets to publish what, who gets to tell the story, it's very interesting how main character June, she tells a story about Chinese laborers, and it's kind of like perceived that she has no right, maybe she has no right to publish it this way. But then we also get Athena, who is Chinese American, but she's described as she doesn't help her fellow writers who are also Chinese American. She wants to be the only one in the room. She wants to have all of the spotlight, and so she also doesn't seem to be connected to Chinese American. June is a white woman and Rebecca is writing as a white woman, so I thought it's hilarious. I can see how it gets twisted and tangled. I can see how the story actually works out, because there's multiple ways to break this rule and there's multiple ways to get it to work the way it did work. Because at the end of the day, this book can come out as arrogant and superior and high on the nose and just like wouldn't have a lot of peers, and it didn't. it worked out so well just because I think it takes talent to write it the way it was written, and I think it just worked out great for me. The last thing I wanted to mention is that how much this book bothered me as a reviewer. When you read about June and her reactions of how people treated news about her and about her book online, she just doesn't react in a very healthy way. And at that time I was doing a review on another book, and I was just kind of like going and deleting the stuff that didn't sound as good. It took me a while to finally calm down. And so it was just for a short moment, and then of course I understand that I'm just reviewing the book. I don't review the author, even though the stuff that I read about author definitely affects my opinion about the book, unfortunately. But at the same time, if the book is written and my opinion is different, or my take is different from what the author meant, it doesn't mean that I am not entitled to kind of like negative emotions and I can put bad review. However, reading it as a reviewer, again coming back to that, is really interesting. It's really challenging. With interviews with Rebecca, she did mention how public treating any of the events that as treated as scandalous events is that there is a valid opinion that is posted on the internet, and then people have a valid and perfectly normal discussion about what they can do to change the outcome of this event. But then there are people who kind of like to steer the pot, and they just go into accusation and punishment. And yes, some action have to be punished, some actions have to have consequences, but it was kind of like a little bit about different topic. It was about the stuff that gets exaggerated and the stuff that kind of like gets spin so much that the issue that first surfaced, it's not addressed at all, because once everyone calmed down, everything pretty much stays the same. So that's the other thing that this book addresses, and I kind of didn't get it until I watched the interviews with Kuang, and she talked about it, and I could totally see it in this book, and I thought it's pretty great idea. Anyway, this book addresses some of the issues. It's a satire, and I think it works as a satire, and I loved reading this book. It reads very easy, and it doesn't answer any of the questions. It just makes you think, but really that's all you can do with the book, I think. That's all I have. Thank you so much for watching.